Hey everyone, NoModMaster here. Next on the list at number 13 is Sunshine Tidings Co-op. It has an area rank of 52 and a height limit of 10 floors. It's also a gateway settlement, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So upon first arriving, you'll notice that there are no settlers here, but there is a Mr. Handybot roaming around. He's not in very good shape though. He'll say things like groovy and far out, but he doesn't respond to speech. You'll learn that once you unlock the settlement, that there's a terminal inside of this shed here. And once you go into that terminal, you can reset him to either be a guard for the settlement or to go for repairs. Be careful though, if you send him for repairs, it's bugged for most people and he never returns to the settlement. You just need to save before you send him for repairs, because as you can see he's missing an eye and a couple panels. He's just not in good shape. So if you go over to the workbench, you can try to unlock the settlement, but it's going to tell you that you have to clear the enemies nearby. If you haven't discovered those enemies yet, you'll learn that there's feral ghouls locked in the buildings around the area. So once you go up to those buildings, be warned, even though the door is locked, the feral ghouls, if they see you, they will come right out and attack you. This is actually a big problem in the settlement because there's a lot of dead feral ghouls in these cabins. If you try to move their bodies, they'll respawn again over and over. So that is one thing that is a downside about these cabins. So I'm going to fast forward though and clear out these feral ghouls and show you what the settlement looks like after I unlock the workbench. Keep in mind, Professor Goodfeels can be killed if you don't help him fight off the feral ghouls. Alright, so once you guys clear out all of the enemy spawns, then you'll gain access to the workbench. And if you read the entry in the terminal, you'll learn that this used to be some sort of Freedom Farm co-op where people used to live. And this building up here looks like it used to be their mess hall area. Judging by this building's condition, I actually wouldn't consider this a structure that I have to repair. There's actually a lot of structures in the settlement that are like this. They have a couple holes in the roof and the walls, but I really wouldn't consider them something that needs to be repaired. You'll notice too that there's a lot of outhouses around the settlement. You cannot scrap these. I tend to just keep them as outhouses. You can scrap the toilets, and you can scrap a lot of trees around the settlement as well. That's the one plus, is you get a lot of wood to start your build when you first discover Sunshine Tidings. You'll notice too that this settlement has a unique shape. It's almost a circular shape. I mean, it's more hexagonal, but it's different compared to the most settlements that are more of a square shape. Don't forget to scrap all the junk inside the cabins as well. That'll give you some extra resources. And if you notice, there's actually some dead settlers laying around, especially where I found feral ghouls. So it's very possible that there were people living here not too long ago, and they might have been killed off by the feral ghouls. There is another structure here, which is the silos, and these are permanent. You cannot scrap them. This is that building I was talking about. So one of the cabin's back walls completely collapsed. You can try to scrap some of the junk items in here to make some more room, but you cannot get rid of these big piles of debris. You're going to have to try to finesse some walls back there. Make sure it has a door too, because the front of the house does not have a door accessible. Blocked off by plywood. So that is the one trouble spot in the settlement where you're going to have to spend a little bit more time to make it look nice. This cabin over here is actually probably my favorite one in the settlement. Oh, there's some rad roaches. Let's kill this guy. But the reason why I really like this cabin is because of these shelves over here in the middle. So if you take a look at these, you'll notice there's a piece of plywood there that kind of separates the two sides of this cabin. So if you have like a roommate. This is very unique, and you don't see this in any other settlement, so I would suggest not scrapping those shelves, just to keep that cool feature. One thing to note is that this settlement does have some beds, and it does have a cooking station and a chemistry station as well. These barn doors too, on the big barn in the middle, are functional and they open and close. One of them is broken though, so that is the downside about the barn doors, but still unique. You don't really see that very often in settlements. There's a little shack here, which is like an outhouse that they have created with a bathtub. You can turn this into whatever you like. And those are pretty much the main structures in the settlement besides all of the cabins. Another unique feature to the settlement is the farm, which is made up of potato blossoms. So if you ever need a bunch of potato blossoms, this is the place you'd want to come to. There's 3 patches with potato blossoms in them. I'm not sure if the most recent settlers planted these, or if these were originally tomato plants long before the war from the original colony that used to live here. So originally I talked about this being a gateway settlement, and that's because if you follow the highway overpass to the right into the mountains, it'll lead you into the Nuka World entrance. So this is the closest settlement to the entrance of Nuka World. It's a fairly safe walk, and it's pretty short too. So this is going to be an important crutch settlement when it comes to sending traders into Nuka World, and for those that play on survival. That pretty much concludes my video for today, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.